Hello, everyone. Welcome to Norm's Friends. Here we are, wonderful Wednesday. Beautiful, nice, warm temperature today of whatever it was, 38. Today, we have Anthony Williams, fantastic artist. He'll be talking a little bit about that later. My co-host, Liz, well, again, female driver, so you know what happens when they get behind the wheel. They lose track of time. So when she gets here, we'll certainly welcome her. And just to touch on the news a bit, I know, really, this Omicron variant, they're making such a big deal out of it. You're going to die. You're not going to see the end of the winter. Just so you'll know, I mean, if you want to believe they're fear-mongering and follow the pack, that's all well and fine. But just remember, I read this just this morning. As of yesterday, so far in the U.S., deaths due to Omicron variant 1. And they also said it was somebody over 60 with
previous conditions.
There you go, other medical conditions. So here you have it. So now let's turn over here to Anthony. And Anthony, well, introduce yourself first.
Well, my name is Anthony M. Williams, and I've been an artist here in Manchester for well over close to 25 years now. And right now I'm working on 15 different paintings. And
Busy
6
boy.
have to deal with guitars, and 6 on homeless. So the rest, I saw something on the internet, and I also remembered while reading on the internet about cops having robots in the future, will be cops, and RoboCop came to mind. I remember that came out, and everybody was like, wow,
That was a good movie.
Well, I saw some government has released some of the things. They're not going to release it all, of course, but even some police departments are now using robot canine dogs as an experiment, and it showed them some man running through the woods, and this robot, the first ones, trying to catch him, and they couldn't. Well, they perfected that robot dog,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't want that robot dog after me. But it just goes to show you how fast our technology is moving. It's moving at a very fast rate, and they're predicting that by the year 2035 to 40, I don't know how accurate that is, because when you hear it, that up to 85% of the working people all around the world, their jobs, they won't need them anymore because they'll have robots doing their jobs.
Wow.
And and that's all around the world. I mean, it didn't say any one certain country. All around the world, that means everywhere, where technology is moving so fast that it's going to put a lot of people out of work. And these robots, they've been in existence back in the late 60s when I worked for General Motors. There were robot machines, and they were amazing. But now they perfected it, and that was 40, 50 years ago. But you ought to see what they have now, where they'll have, in Saudi Arabia, they made a robot, a woman, and they had her on a show here in America, and I can't remember the name of the man that had the show, because I usually stick to MeTV. I guess because I'm getting, no, it's much easier to digest because the movie still makes sense to me. But it showed this robot that they made into a woman, and when you look
Did you
at
have
her,
a hijab?
oh yeah, I mean it was incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of the name of the guy that had the show, but anyway, he was like, "This can't be real, this can't be real." But it came out, and it's a woman, and you can tell by the way they walk and move that they're not quite human. I mean, free,
Yeah.
but it was so lifelike, and it carried on a conversation with the host.
Wow.
And I sat there and I watched the latter part of that, and I began to think, how far is this going to go. And you get on the internet and you can look up information. But I look at it this way. What are they going to do with us in another, say, 25, 30 years? Because there's already 18-wheelers on the highway driven by robot computers. Driven by a robot.
See, I didn't know that. Now I'm scared to drive.
Right. Well, it's sometimes the high tech is for everybody, which it should be. But on this planet, not everybody gets along. You've always had the same villains, so to speak: China, Russia, et cetera, et cetera. But wouldn't it be nice to know that there was everybody got together from all different races, different countries, and cured cancer and worked for the people to make it better for everybody? Instead, we're behind iron curtains, even though people say, oh, no, that fell in 1989 under Ronald Reagan. Well, you better talk to Putin because he's still there, and you can bet you that he's going to be there for a long time. But the point being is I'm having trouble because I'm not all that computer literate. I mean, I know how to do most things. I've been on the computer for 20 years. But like today, I get in my car, I open up the door, and you get that ding, ding, ding you get when you don't have your seatbelt on.
Right,
well,
yeah, Scott knows.
So it kept going. I'm going, what's going on here? And I just had it at Auto Fair on the airbag and something to do with the braking system, and they were factory recall, so I didn't have to pay for it, thank God. But 2 days later, I opened up the car door today to come to the show, and that little ding-ding, that real irritating,
right, yeah.
and I'm thinking, what did I do? Leave the lights on? I'm going through this. And if I lock the doors inside, they unlock all of them. So what I have to do now is manually push the locks, because if I usually had to just click on the bottom button, on the top was unlock, and on the bottom, lock, doesn't work. So as soon as I push the lock, they'll lock and then come unlocked again. And that means I'm leaving my car when I think it's parked and locked, that it's not locked. So I have to manually shut and lock it up. And so I'm going to wait till after Christmas and take it in. But that's irritating to me because I don't know how to fix it. So I'm going to have to take it to somebody that's going to go, sure, a couple $100 and I'll fix you up.
Exactly,
you know what I mean? Right. I wish I had my own 1964 Chevy. I could open up the hood. Now I could see the ground, and if it needed an exhaust pipe, or I needed spark plugs, or change the valve, I could do it. And after the 80s started coming in, you open up the hood of your car now, and you're sitting there going, I have to take it to somebody. In order to get some things fixed, they have to take so much of other things off to get to that one little, and that's why it costs so much. And again, computers will make your life so much easier. It will just, boom, put a zing in your life. Well, that's true to an extent. That's what I found out the hard way. As long as
they work, they're wonderful.
Right. Oh, when they're working, you're a happy guy.
Exactly.
But tonight when I got in, like I said, to come over here, I go, what's ding, 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 ding? And I'm going, well, the seatbelt, blah. Once I start the car, plug the seatbelt in, I don't hear it. And then when I get out of the car, I lock. I do them all. I always push the button, and I noticed that they locked, and then I didn't shut the door all the way, and I could hear them unlock again. I'm going, what's going on? So now
your car is possessed, Anthony.
Yeah, somebody's in there. One of them. It's maybe Henry Ford's coming after me or somebody. I don't know, but
wow.
It really bothers me to think about what I'm going to have to do, where I'm going to have to take it, because I don't know if I've been going to Douglas Automotive for so many years now, and I trust him. He does a good job. but I don't know if he'll be able to fix that. But I need it fixed. Because say if I have some groceries or anything in my car that's my personal property, and the way things are going today, somebody comes by your car, and I see a lot of people looking at other people's cars.
They sure
I mean,
do.
you know, you have to face the facts. You can't, oh, don't talk about that. Well, if you don't talk about it, you know, you're going to come home with no groceries or whatever you have in your car. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do now that I know that when I think I lock my door, it's not really locked. That means I'm going to have to get in every night before I go in manually, shut them all, and then I can sleep because I don't want somebody
And
taking my
then
car.
don't forget, you're gonna have to double check once you're out of the car. Double check, yank on the handle.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's high tech. It's fine for people that know how to fix it or keep up with
Right.
it. But to tell you the truth, Dave, I don't want to be totally controlled by a robot or artificial intelligence, and that seems to be what a lot of these big corporations all around the world, it seems like they're pushing humans out. What are they going to do with us? I mean,
Well, you know, but see, it's Mother Nature's going to balance out because if people aren't working, they'll have fewer offspring, and then, right, and then so much for the, you know, the Green New Deal. There'll be no need for that because Mother Nature always balances out, always.
I don't like
So-
to get into politics too much,
Me
but
either.
you can't help it. It's to me, if I was, I don't think it's so much a Democrat Republican thing anymore, but there's no doubt in my mind that the Democrat Party has changed radically. I believe that there's, without a doubt, because I've been following this for decades, there are people and have been people within our government that want to kind of tear it down.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Norm's Friends. How are you?
Yeah, very good, Dave. I see Anthony has a slight problem with his car. If he took his key fob
Yeah.
down to batteries plus, they'll check it out to see if part of that is disconnected.
Ah,
But you say batteries plus?
yeah, on South Willow.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for the tip.
Thank you.
Because I went down there with mine, and they took it apart, and they said there was a piece of the connection inside was dislodged. And I said, how much to get a new one? They said $125.
Wow.
Wow. Did you have the same problem I did with the? To me, it's all it's computer. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, isn't it a
when I start my car up, right, and I travel 100 yards, all my doors lock automatically.
Right. That's my car. As soon as I put it in drive and start going, they lock, but
that's the way
Yeah.
it used to be. But now it's
Well, that's the only information I could think of, so Merry Christmas to both of you.
thanks.
you.
Merry Christmas to you too, and Happy New
and
Year.
thanks. I will take it down
Yeah.
to battery plus
Thanks for the tip.
and see.
Okay.
You're
Thanks.
welcome.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
I mean, what else can I do? You
Well,
know,
that was
I mean,
good. See? Yeah.
I'm not a mechanic. I don't. I mean, the things I used to be able to do, I can't do anymore. I have a Mercury Milan, a 2007 vehicle, and one thing I know about it is when I got it, it had 101,000 miles on it,
Wow.
and that was pretty good for 2007. And I haven't really had a whole lot of problems with it, but I noticed that since I took it back from the factory recall, 2 days later, 3 days later, here I am, and I don't like the idea that my car's unlocked in a parking lot at night.
Well, I mean, you know what they do. You take your car in, you know, they fix this, but they loosen something else, so you have to bring
That's
it back.
I'm thinking about that too, because I'm on limited income, and you know I can't play play the big game here, $1,000 for this, and I'd have to say, can I make payments? I mean, that's the way I have to live. You know? But I depend solely on Social Security, and once in a while I'll sell some artwork, but you know what I mean? It's not all that much, and it's only maybe 3 or 4 times a year. One good thing about that is I can put it online through the group I'm in now, the Bedford Crafters Guild, and they just let artists in that did paintings 6 years ago, and I went to you have to work, and if you sell anything, they'll instead of taking 40%, they'll take 23%. And the president said, Anthony, you and your painter friends are going to go through some changes. I'm just thinking that maybe we're taking up too much of their space because it's in the old Bedford Library. It's over 100 some years old or whatever, and so that doesn't sound good. So that means that they're going to either limit us on how much we can put in. That's why I take it to Copy Express. They do a good job down on right here on Elm. I can take a painting in and say I want 3 or 4 or 500 for a painting. Some of them I do, most of them I don't. I try and stay small and affordable. But what I'm doing is, and I'm glad I did, was having them photograph it and make cards.
Nice. So,
So you got to survive. I mean, if you're going to paint, you've got to have, like with me, I like selling. I don't know any artist that doesn't, but it's very hard. It's very hard to promote yourself, and if it hadn't been for the online sales, I wouldn't be doing anything, because the Manchester Arts Association, we used to have 3, 4 outside gigs a year. Now, because of COVID and everything else, we don't have anything. And Jupiter Hall closed down. That was right across from the Palace. Katie and Dan Berube, they had Jupiter Hall going, where artists all over the state would come in, and it was doing just fine until COVID came by. And when you talk about this Omicron and this variant, and I mean, how many more years are we going to be able to? This is going on 3 years now. Something's just not right.
I agree. Something is just not right.
I had to kind of put that in a little bit, but it's, if you follow it and listen to some of these doctors that are explaining what they're finding in the vaccine, it's kind of scary. I don't like the idea of being shot, even though I had my vaccination. And I got COVID back in April, and I didn't have COVID, and I swear this, even though I'm not a doctor, until after I took that shot. And I talked to 50, 60 people in the last year since then that said the same thing. So you have to wonder what's going on, and these athletes that are having heart attacks all over the world, and they got vaccinated like 2 days before the game, 3 days before the game, and you get to the point where you say, something's wrong here.
Right. And she made it in.
Hello.
All right, Liz, come on in.
Thank you for having
Welcome.
me. Thank you. As always, late Liz, right? Oh, gosh. Super embarrassed, but happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. I'm Liz. You must
Anthony.
be Anthony.
Yeah.
Love the name. So
You brought
this is
one
your artwork.
painting today because we thought there were going to be other people, but
Yeah.
there
Okay.
isn't.
You know, it's an Italian name, but I'm Irish and German.
Get out
But
of here.
my father was in the Korean War, and he was stationed in Boston. And when he got shipped out to go to have fun in the war,
Oh, boy.
I was born in Boston, and my mother's best friend was an Italian lady,
Oh.
and she became my, what do they call it, my godmother
Yeah.
when I got baptized. So my mother said later that Tilly was her name, and she said, that my mother had to compromise and put an Italian name.
Oh.
So that's what I got.
And that's how we ended up with Anthony. I love that name.
Yeah.
Well, my son's name is Anthony.
Well, I've been called everything. When I worked in Boston, every Wednesday, the guys would yell down the steps,
Oh.
Anthony! Until another guy, about a year later, his name was Anthony, and he became the target, and I'm sitting there
Oh,
going,
no. He took
Thank
the
you.
spot.
yeah. But it was just all fun, but it was just the idea. They had to have something to do, someone to pick on. So
Of course.
they pick on me. But
Prince
every
Spaghetti.
Wednesday, I remember we did a skyscraper, and I'm down at the bottom, and I'm spraying some rails.
Yeah.
Every Wednesday. Anthony, 30, 40 guys up there going, Anthony.
Oh, my goodness.
But that ended when they hired another guy. And he said, you go through, I said, I've been going through this for 7 months.
It's your turn
Now it's your turn. Yeah. But
I
we
love
all
it.
got along. It was just, you got to razz somebody, Spaghetti Day.
That's
Wednesday.
right.
That's
Prince
right.
Spaghetti,
Prince
right?
Spaghetti Day.
You can't forget
Yeah.
that.
And it goes to Antonio.
Antonio.
Yeah.
So is it Anthony or is it Antonio?
It's Anthony.
Anthony, yeah.
Yeah, Anthony Michael.
I
Catholic.
love that other
Obviously.
name too.
Obviously. Oh, yeah.
I love them both. Both my kids have your names,
Really?
yeah.
Anthony?
Anthony and middle name Michael.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, we're getting enough psychic here today, Dave.
See that? Uh-oh. I know. So I told her too, she didn't need to bring the cards today.
Okay.
Yes. So we do not.
So you're one of those.
I am
huh?
one of those. Yes. Yes. I am just, let's put it this way, I am just very aware of my surroundings.
You have to be.
Extremely aware.
I was just telling Dave how psychic my cat is.
Oh,
I
yeah.
swear, this is what got me. I had a cat that was abused. In fact, I had 2 cats that were abused. And I just got tired of guys drinking beer and kicking this little cat around. And that was years ago. So one day I had to get out of there. Somebody offered me some painting and apartments and stuff. And I was drinking, but I just didn't want to get drunk and violent with an animal.
Yeah.
And these guys had nothing to do. So anyway, I went back to open up the door, throw the key in there because I already had an apartment. They made an arrangement with me.
Yeah.
And Fuzzhead, I called her, was just maybe this long and,
Aw.
young. And I said, picked her up, put her in my pocket. It was in the middle of winter. I lived on Chestnut Street, and I walked all the way up 4 or 5 blocks. I remember it was snowing, and I had her 18 years. Her name was Fuzzhead,
Fuzzhead.
and she was a Maine Coon cat.
Oh, she was a
wow,
big
yeah.
girl.
I got some picture when she was younger, and then I got picture when she's full grown.
Yeah.
But she was really a beautiful cat. Then after that, I got a cat named Dana that was abused, that some guy had stolen from some people that were abusing her. Well, why kick a cat around or a dog or anything?
I can't
So
stand
he
that.
said, I know you'll take care of it because I'm stealing their other cat too because they're doing the same thing. So he
Wow.
did. So he had his cat, I had mine. But when Dana died, I buried Fuzzhead on one side of the Merrimack River and Dana on the other side of the Merrimack River. And I told myself after Dana died, I had her 8 years, and it's a beautiful cat. And I said, no more cats. I go outside, I live in housing on Pine Street, out in the backyard, and I'm sitting there, and John, my friend, he's since passed on, but he's the one that gave me Fuzzhead.
No idea what that was. Sorry.
So anyway, I'm
What's on
sitting
her
there
phone?
thinking, no more cats. Well, this black and white cat comes out, wasn't even a year old yet. Looked just like Sylvester. Jumped on my lap. No, I petted it, and nope, no more cats. I put it down. He jumps back up. Nope, no more cats. I was determined, thinking, how old I am now and how long she's going to live. Just you think that way. Why have a cat and you die or she dies? So anyway, after the third time, he looked me right in the eye and he meowed. And every time I put him down 4 or 5 times, he kept jumping on my leg.
Yeah.
So I picked him up on the table, and John was sitting next to me, and John said, "I think somebody has just chosen you."
Yes.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
guess who
They
won
took-
that battle?
Yes.
4 and a half, almost 5 years later, I got
And
Sylvester.
you have
And he
Sylvester.
owns me. He runs the
He
house.
owns you, yes.
He's
That's
the
how
only-
it is.
It is. That's true.
I'll be on the computer, and he's got a habit. He likes to sit on and get attention. He'll get right in front of me and then walk right across
The keyboard.
the keyboard.
Of course.
And I talk to other people who have cats. Pet me, pay attention to me.
Mm-hmm.
I used to get mad at him, get out there. But now I just turn the computer off and pet him, and then he's happy.
And then, yeah.
Yeah. But there's something
They push
about
for
him.
that attention. Yeah, yeah.
There is something. They must have some kind
Something
of telepathy.
deeper. Yeah.
Because I'll be sitting there, not just once or twice, but it seems like almost every time I'm thinking about him.
Yeah.
Like, that I got to go buy him some treats because he gets treats every day. Which, and I better be over there when he gets on top of the refrigerator to give him his treats. And it better be 4:35
Oh, yeah.
or whatever. He every night. And I'll be sitting there thinking, and I'll turn around and I look, and he's sitting there and he's intense stare right at me.
Yeah.
So I begin to think,
Yeah, it's almost like he talks to you without words.
yeah,
He's
something.
conveying that message.
But
loud and clear.
he is definitely a good boy, I call him. He's sleeps with me every night. Now, when he gets mad over certain things, like when I get up in the morning, sometimes I'm not as young and energetic as I used to be. I got a few
Yeah.
pains here and there. And it's just like he'll sit there like, "Hurry up, old man, let's go. You got to feed me.
Yeah.
So I do that, and I have fed him when I didn't have hardly any money, but I bought him food instead of me because I figured if I have to, I can go to the soup kitchen or something else.
Yeah.
But so far so good. But I'm not going to let him starve. It's just the way he is. I had my friend George Peel. He's been an actor in town, and when I was in the hospital in April up in Rochester, George said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of your cat." And so he come in every day, and it got to the point where he would hide under the bed, and George couldn't get him out from under the bed. George and his wife have two cats, or maybe 3. They love cats. And anyway, George told me later that Sylvester attacked him.
Oh.
Whoa.
And that he had to get, because he knew that George wasn't me.
Right.
Yeah, they know.
And he wanted George out of there. And George he said he came after me. He said he bit me on the leg, and he said, "Good thing I had thick socks on." And he said, so when he went in there, he got a piece of cardboard so that he could put in front of him
Goodness.
and position it so that Sylvester
Barrier.
couldn't get it because he wanted to attack him. But
Yeah.
he finally got him out from the bed, and that's what he got. In other words, Sylvester's saying, you got me out of the bed, and this is what you deserve.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But as soon as I got home that night, he was still under the bed. When I got home that day, I'll never forget it, because I was looking for him, and he was under the bed. As soon as he saw me, he poof, just like that. Yeah. So they know there's a bond there.
No,
You know?
absolutely.
Yeah, there is.
And you know, I found that. So I have 3 cats. They're
Mm-hmm.
triplets, and I've had them since they were 4 weeks old. And I noticed when they were very little, if I had to leave my place, and when I'd come back, they would hide under the couches.
Right.
And then I realized they're doing that just like animals in the wild, young in the wild. They
Mm-hmm. Right.
are protecting themselves until the parent comes back.
Right.
Keeping themselves safe from any predators. And I
Right.
thought that was so remarkable how even domesticated animals will still keep that primal instinct of protecting themselves and waiting for their pack, their tribe to come back and,
Right.
and feel safe again.
You know, my vet told me that, and I kind of thought this because they're all from the feline family.
Yeah.
That goes all the way up to a 550-pound male lion,
Yeah.
all the way up to a 550-pound male tiger, female, doesn't
Absolutely.
matter. I'm thinking, if this male lion has to have at least 35 to 40 sometimes 40, depends on how old they are and how big they are. I didn't know that they get over a quarter of a ton. That's a huge
Imagine
kitty.
that. Imagine the paws.
Yeah,
I
well,
know,
I've
huh?
seen.
I
You
wouldn't
ever
wanna
seen?
get
Yeah, I
Swatted
wouldn't
by
want
one.
Some people have pet lions, but what would you feed it? The neighbor's dog,
Right?
No.
you know, and then go. I mean,
Daily.
but they're beautiful, beautiful cats. But they're all in the same family.
Mm-hmm.
She said your domestic cat is 100 times smaller than a big cat,
Right.
or more, but it's the same muscle structure,
Yeah.
same everything. They're
Yeah.
just smaller.
Absolutely.
So maybe that's God's way of saying, here, you can have your tiger and your lion.
In mini form. Yeah.
Right.
I remember a couple of years ago, I saw a mountain lion. And somebody had filmed it in their backyard, a friend of mine, he sent it to me. And Ed said, you wouldn't believe, I got up and he sent everybody a DVD with it. You know, he copied it on there. But mountain lions are, look at them, same thing.
Yeah.
And they look like lions without the mane, their face.
Yes.
So they're all cats. Bobcats, lynx, they'll all hurt you.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, I know a couple bobcats, and a couple people that have had dogs that
Wouldn't stand a chance. Yeah.
it's not good when the dog is out chasing something like that and they don't realize a bobcat can kill a dog.
One swipe.
Now,
That's it.
it's, you know, get the eyeballs, whatever, it's over.
And it's
Yeah.
their primal nature.
Yeah. Mountain lions, they can get up to 200 pounds.
Yeah.
They used to kill horses back in the old days when, you know, like a bear would come in. If it's hungry, it's going to take your cow, your horse,
That's right.
whatever. You
Yeah.
know, grizzlies especially, they're pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
But I love wildlife, and I don't like what they're doing to them. I'm cutting their heads off, putting them on a wall, and all that.
Yeah. That's,
I know.
Yeah,
Really, I know.
I have
that's
an
why I
issue
like it
with
when the lion wins once in a while, when they catch a poacher. But like in Africa, Glenn, a friend of mine, he just got back. Well, it's been a couple of months now, but he said in some parts of Africa, especially along the Serengeti Plain, if you don't have your paperwork and you haven't reported, which you should, who you are, what you're there for, and then they find out you're poaching lions, that when the lions kill these people, they bury them on the spot, and that's the end of it.
They bury the person on the spot.
Yeah,
You know what? They should.
yeah.
I'm all for it.
What's left of them,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
The carcass.
I mean, he said it's just justice, and he also said that 90% of people that get killed by lions in Africa, he said, I hate to say this, but they deserve it. Why?
yeah.
He said you get a lot of photographers from science magazines coming in,
Yeah.
and they want to get the best shot. They want to get the closest shot. And he said you would think that they have all these, you know, all these new telescopic lenses, even on digital cameras that, you know, stay away. But some people just got to get up close.
Yeah.
What happens?
So that's the
Two
problem.
just last week. Two photographers. I was reading that.
Got
They
killed
were
them?
killed.
The same, just from what he said, though, they got out of their Jeep or whatever they were in to get a better shot, and
Oh,
they got him.
I mean, it's stupid to really. I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, if you're out there with a cat, like lions can run 35 to 40 miles an hour on flat land, and a bear can outrun you. A black bear, if it's ticked off, if it's
Yeah.
mama or daddy,
Yeah, exactly.
if you can run 50 or 60, you'll get away.
Yeah.
But if a human can't run that fast, I didn't think a bear, because when I was younger, I used to see black bears or bears, period, and I thought, oh, well, they're all big fat animals. They
Right,
can't, well,
sluggish, but
they showed a black bear running, he got up to 42 miles an hour chasing the deer. The deer got away, but the bear, mad.
stayed on them. Yeah,
No.
yeah.
But who wants to mess with something like that?
Well, and that's the thing is that we're invading their territory, their their home, right? Their natural habitat. So they're doing what they do. They're protecting their little sanctuary, and where they
And the sad thing is, in some parts of Africa, they're shooting poachers right there on the spot.
they should. Oh, that's
Wow.
so
Because-
bad to say, but you know what? If you're gonna poach, then come on. It's
Right.
Somebody
That's
in
the
Europe,
consequence.
somebody in Europe wants a big male lion shot, cut its head off, hang it on a wall.
That's their trophy.
their
Yeah.
trophy, you know. So I've seen some film that YouTube has dropped a lot of them. I've seen back years ago. They won't show them too much, and I don't blame them. What a lion can do to 2-3 men,
Yeah.
it ain't
In a
pretty.
matter of minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't take
It's
long.
no match.
It's not very good.
Yeah.
Or a crocodile getting somebody.
But see, I feel like a lot of people are, they chase that adrenaline.
Yeah.
You know, they want to live on the edge, and they just kind of, not they don't have any fear, but it's like that thrill of
Mm-hmm.
being so close to death.
But,
They-
and then after that, then they get bragging rights.
Yes,
Right.
to say I was this close, and yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a film. I was watching a film. Was it last week or the week before? And I thought it was a joke. It was a big male lion and a black bear fighting. And
gosh.
I'm thinking, what? And then all of a sudden they shoot across the screen. Now think about this. Black bears are not even on the same continent as a lion. So what is happening here?
Oh, that was brilliant.
And, well, the thing was, the lion, I thought, at first the lion was going to win,
Yeah.
but nobody won. That black bear was huge. The guy said it weighed about 700-800 pounds. It was a black bear from America.
Yeah.
So now they're looking for the men that transported that,
Yes.
and they're going to get them. And
Good.
that's what the
Good.
thing across. I mean, finally they wore each other out,
Yeah.
and the black bear wasn't going to give up, and neither was the
neither was-
lion. But they
yeah.
were both kind of standing there, huffing and puffing. But that's the first thing that hit me: black bears in Africa.
Yeah.
What's going on there? And then the thing came up, and somebody told me that they got them, and that they were from France or somewhere, or Italy, and that they were paid by somebody so that they could watch the fight.
Oh,
And
God.
and somebody had released the film without their permission. Everybody's pointing the finger at somebody else.
Of course.
But when I first saw that, I thought, well, what's going to happen? But
Yeah.
the black bear and the lion, they realized they both got long claws, and they both got big jaws, strong jaws. So that bear hurt that lion, and the lion hurt that bear, and then they would break and then go at each other again. But eventually, they were both tired because the black bear stood up, and and you could see the face, the eyes, kind of like on the lion. I mean, whoever put
Yeah.
this together knew what they were doing. But that's cruel.
That's
That is.
disgusting.
That's absolutely cruel. And
It
it
is.
dawned on me, I'm saying, what's going on here with people? And this stuff that the old traps where they catch them by their foot, so sometimes the bear will break loose and heal up.
Yeah.
But I think that's cruel too. The old,
The jaw ones,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
they're trying to outlaw them. I wouldn't make much of a hunter because I believe hunting like the Indians did, the American Indian. When they went after a bear, they went and used everything on that bear, everything on
Exactly.
that deer, that moose, whatever they were going to eat. They had respect for it.
Exactly.
You know,
They honor
but
it.
today it seems like because of money, people don't care. You know? So that's why when I first heard about people, the police would pull up in some parts, not all, and shoot the people right there on the spot. They would ask them for an ID, and had this one guy that was what was left of him. He was still alive, but he had shot the lion, but it didn't kill the lion. It wounded the lion, and then the lion got. And they sat there and filmed it, and they put that as a warning to people. Same thing happened with an elephant. This guy, they told him, they were yelling at him, "Drop your gun! Drop your gun!" And the guy's up there. He's got the hat on. When he takes the rifle, he shoots. He hits this elephant, but it didn't go in. It just made him mad.
Of course.
And he took the guy with his trunk, rolled him up the trunk,
Oh.
and you can imagine what came out both ends.
Oh, geez.
And that was the end. And then when he slammed him on the ground, he stomped him, and they filmed that, and they show that in court, and they allow that in some parts. So some people won't show it,
Yeah.
but they're saying, look, this guy is illegal, and this is what can happen to you. So they just
Absolutely.
let the lion finish the guy off.
Let
That's
nature
it.
take its course, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
And the sad thing is, the guy, if he survives, they did put him in the back of a Jeep,
yeah.
but he had one muscle ripped out of his leg. I mean, there's some pretty gross things
Severe
on there. I
damage.
couldn't sit and watch them all the time, but once in a while, I like it when the lion wins once in a while.
Absolutely.
You know, especially when they're going out taking cubs now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's such a disadvantage because the lion only has itself as a weapon to protect itself, whereas
Sure,
man
you could
has-
shoot a big lion, but
Yeah.
take a knife and go out after that lion, and I'll bet on the lion every time. Or a big black
Mhm.
bear, grizzly
That's
bear.
right.
That's right.
You know, I've seen bears here in New Hampshire. I'm not a hunter, but when I lived on a game reserve, and that was 30 years ago, I saw a bear that if he wasn't 6, 7, 800 pounds, and I was in the truck with another guy, and he was taking pictures.
Oh, gee.
And he told me, he said, what do you call me, tenderfoot, he said. He said, you're new
Oh,
to this
boy.
stuff. He says, whatever you do, do not get out of this truck.
Yeah.
And he said, I've been doing this 20 years, and I'm not going to get out of this truck.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we don't have a gun, we just got a camera. But
Yeah.
he sat there and filmed. I mean, that black bear wouldn't want to mess with it.
Mm.
No. But you have to respect them.
Well, and I
you do.
feel like that's what's happening is that we're collectively as humans, we are losing respect for nature.
Right.
That's really what it comes down to. We're losing respect
Right.
for the sacredness of nature.
Think how big the ocean. It covers 2/3 of the world,
Yeah.
and it's polluted with plastic bottles.
Right, because we're selfish.
Yeah.
We want the convenience. Convenience and commodity is what is driving humanity into the hole, right? We want everything
We're going to end
now.
up killing ourselves,
We are. We're
polluting the
self-destructing.
water, and I mean, now in Israel, their scientists have developed a submarine that somehow they can collect these plastic bottles. They send these rods out, and certain signals or something, how they do it, I don't know. But all the plastic bottles come in, and then they collect them.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get everybody to buy these submarines and start cleaning the ocean, or we're in
Right.
trouble.
Sure, why
You
not?
know? I mean, it shows them working how they do it.
Right.
But some scientists in Israel developed that.
Well, and we need more of that, and we also
Right.
need to incentivize humanity to recycle, to
Right.
stop being so wasteful. To
My father said in Florida they stopped for some reason.
What?
They
Stop
stopped
what?
what?
Stopped recycling.
What?
That's
I
what he
don't
told me.
recycle all the time.
I don't recycle all the time, but I also try to keep a lot of stuff from making it to the landfill. That's my biggest fear.
Right.
Is, once you've seen that video, and I'll never forget, I saw this in school, like probably third grade, and once you've seen that video of the landfill and where, you throw something in the trash and then it's gone. It's there and it's permanent in that landfill, and we
Right.
continue to add.
Right.
And then what? Like
When-
it's not biodegradable. It just sits there, and we're killing ourselves.
When I was a
Right.
kid, I always used to think, why don't they take all the trash and just dump it in a volcano?
Right.
Right?
That's a good idea.
You know,
Very
I
good
don't.
idea.
You think about high
One of those
tech,
centering.
like I was talking about. Isn't there something you can do with these plastic bottles? They say that they
There's
can recycle
plenty.
them, but I try and recycle as much as I can because I'm tired of plastic. Think about it. In fact,
Yeah.
there's plastic now that my vet warned me about, and other people, that your dog and cat, there's something about the smell of the
Chemicals,
plastic,
yeah.
and there are some plastics that have been proven to cause illness in people.
Yeah.
That covers your meat.
Yeah.
Certain plastic,
Wow.
not all plastics, but she said keep all plastics away. And I have stopped Sylvester 3 times they chew on it and they chew
Yeah.
on it, and some reason there's a smell to it that attracts not only cats but dogs,
Yeah.
and they'll choke on it, kill 'em.
Yeah. Yeah.
know,
and then the
that's-
jagged edges and rips the
Right.
esophagus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, think
I
back
have-
on milk. It used to come in a
Right.
glass bottle for a reason.
Right.
And now it's in plastic cartons.
Well,
which, yeah, you can recycle them, but
just like this painting here. Why don't we have robots taking care of picking up all the trash and recycling?
right. Because
Well,
that's
in
not
Mass,
for the
they have
betterment
the
of.
prisoners do that on the
Yeah.
side of the road.
But you know what
Yeah.
I think they
Yeah,
should. I think
so-
they should do that. You know, even if you're in prison, I mean, I think you should work. Go out and
Yes.
clean,
Well,
clean
yeah,
up.
the
We have
ones
the
that
option.
in Mass, the
Mass.
ones that clean on the side of the road, you know, they're the good behavior ones, and
The
they get
pre-release.
right. They
Right.
sort of I heard they volunteer for it. So I mean,
Well,
I
some
would.
of them, no, well, so,
on a nice day, if
based
I
on
was
my
locked up.
experience when I worked at the jail, my guys
You didn't
and
smuggle
girls.
drugs in, did you?
No, no. They did. They
I
were
had to
required
ask.
to have community service. So a lot of like probationers and parolees are required by their court order to complete a certain amount of community service hours, and also the pre-release inmates also do community service, and those are the ones you see on the highway with the yellow bags. But they're like good behavior. You know, they're already at the very tail end of their sentence, so they're not going to run. They're not going to mess up all their hard work when they're just
No.
at that finish line. So they do have the luxury, if you will. They've earned the right to
All right.
go out and help, but it's not much. You know, then the towns also become an issue where the DPW doesn't want the inmates touching their contracts, right?
Right.
So it becomes
Right.
we need to work together to make we could even include high school kids that are
Right.
looking for bonus credits. Why
There you
can't
go.
we have them help as well? Like,
Right.
there's so many ways that we can push forward, but we don't because it's not convenient for the bigger people, right?
You want to talk a little bit about this thing?
Yeah, go ahead because
Yeah,
you
you
don't
said-
have. You don't have much time left, Tony. We
Uh-oh.
got like 8 minutes, but yeah, tell us what this is now. I know
Okay.
it's not Manchester because look at that light high rise. That's really
Light
something.
high-rise.
This here is a city that I took a little bit of just my imagination and what we already had downtown. But this is going to be an urban area, and I call it urban. There's going to be a series, and I'm going to call that Urban Reality Cookies.
Oh,
And it's got, if we can get a shot of the cop, will say the RoboCop. This is something that I know I started this at least a year and a half, 2 years ago. But I thought, what am I going to bring on Dave's show? Because Norm had said, last time I talked to him, that he says, well, bring all those psycho cops you were talking about.
the psycho cops.
I said, okay,
So
but
cute.
here the city
Psycho cops.
is
know.
something that is an interest to me now. I'm also working on some homeless and stuff. But I'm going to add on to this with some photographs that I took from 1986 in New York City. And I'm just going to sketch the buildings in. And then I took some pictures last year that I'm going to use, and I'm going to put Manchester in there too.
Yeah.
And I'm going to change the robot a little bit. If we could,
Zoom in on them.
and I'll show you, yeah, here on the robot, I made him look, I think I'm gonna keep basically the same shape, but I'm just gonna change a few colors. But I'm gonna have his arm coming out, and I'm also gonna have smaller little robot cops, I call them. I've been working on some designs because I believe they're gonna be the future.
Okay, so this would be what is to come.
Right.
And then as far as, because I'm very interested in the police, the robot police
Yeah.
there. So is that something that when you picture, before you started painting, do you feel like society is going to be policed by robots?
We are
ultimately?
already police, let's face
More
it.
openly, yes.
Right. Like Dave said something about smartphones. I mean, face it, it's a known fact. Even on your computer.
Yeah.
I
you're
wonder
tracked.
how people got my email when you first get on the computer. Nobody's supposed to get your email. Don't worry, you won't be bothered. But then you find out a lot of these corporations get your email because you may have clicked on something and then they sell it.
Yes.
And then you're constantly bombarded. So they know what you're doing as soon as you're on
Always.
that computer. And I know that they're putting fiber optics, brand new fiber optics, all through the city of Manchester. I know that for a fact. I talked to some people that said, yeah, that they're, and the scary thing about it is that I volunteer at the William Caston Center, and I've been there, this is my 6th year. and I just volunteer something to do. I teach art. And I was talking to a gentleman, an older gentleman, that said that something strange happened to him in his home. He had Comcast come and put cable in. And he said when he turned his TV on, he could see inside the Comcast office when they were down here by Valley Street. Now they have since moved to the mall. But he said he looked at it and he said, my God, that's where I go to pay my bill. And then,
Oh,
there's no reason to lie to me. He just said, but soon after that, it went off.
yeah.
But he's thinking now, if he can see in Comcast can see in your place. And somebody told me about certain television sets made by a certain company, and I can't remember the name right offhand right now, but face it, we're living in that 1984, whether we want to admit it or not.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean,
Absolutely.
face it, there's
We are.
Right. Everybody who's got an Alexa, they say Alexa's listening to you all the
And
time.
it's so
Like,
true.
and I have one. Everybody says, "Well, what's she gonna
Yeah.
find out? How many beers I had last night?"
Yeah.
I mean, really.
you know,
It's
the
definitely-
the scary thing about it to see this certain, just can't remember the name of the TV company. They make more than TVs. They're heavily into electronics. But even when your TV is off, they'll be able to see in your living room, your bedroom,
Yeah.
That's
wherever
what
you
I
have
That's
your
why
heard.
TV.
you have to unplug it from
Yeah.
the back. You have to.
Right.
So I just want to make a quick point because we only have 3 minutes. So anybody who has been reading my post today and feeling and asking me if I'm okay, I am okay. And I know my posts today have been very cryptic. And I want to highlight this painting goes hand in hand with everything that I've said today. So we'll add that to the puzzle piece because when you look at everything that I've posted today and you look at all the moving parts, how can you not see what's happening? Come on.
Right.
This is,
That's exactly
I mean,
right.
and it's not the me versus them. It's not anything to do about that. Take a step back, look at it from a very high perspective, and notice what is going around. And notice how history repeats itself, right? And notice how the past has been warning us about this very point in time.
Exactly.
We've been warned, we've been given the tools all along the way, but we've chosen to not listen because it's easy to fall into the comfortable
Well,
lie.
I tell everybody, God gave you free will, use it.
Right.
And that's
Use the brain, right?
right. All right. So introduce yourself quick, Anthony.
Sure.
We don't have much time left.
All right. I love doing artwork, and I hope to have this done because I'd like to come back sometime in the future because I am going to be finishing this, and what I'm going to add to it is going to be,
It's gonna be epic.
we'll just call it the eyes. And
I love
everything that I know that is going to happen is happening now. And I wanted to throw this in real fast. I was doing some researching because I had to read, everybody did, when I was in high school.
Gotta be quick, Anthony. We're almost out of here.
The novel, 1984.
Yeah.
George Orwell started notes and writing that in 1939. And because he took a real good look at Hitler and how things were over there. And it came out and written in 1947. And now, look at us,
living
the
it.
way we're living it.
All right,
There's
Yeah,
Liz,
living
no
quick.
doubt.
Tell 'em-
Mystic Moon Medium, Liz Santana, or as Norm would always say, Liz Spiritual Santana. MysticMoonMedium.com. Follow me.
The readings guy, 603-404-9338. David B. R. at biffid@yahoo.com. Merry
Blessings.
Christmas, Happy New Year. Remember, you are
A winner.